Hey everybody, welcome to the second episode of Around the Verse. I am Sandy Gardner.
I'm Ben Lesnick. It's good to see you all again.
Yes, we have made some improvements. As you can see, we have a desk.
It's sort of a set where we're borrowing it from reception, but it's kind of a set. We've made all sorts of improvements based on your feedback from our first episode. You probably noticed there's music, editing's a little bit tighter, and the time slot. We're back in the morning for our European backers.
Yes, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. What else do we have going? There was jackhammering this morning, so we're taking this again. So just in case you hear somebody screaming in the background or some keyboard tapping, that is because we do not have a studio.
But the most important change we've made to the program is that I will no longer be pointing at my crotch and telling people to submit feedback there.
Yes, that is correct.
That was unfortunate.
Well, people were saying that you're prettier, right? So, but anyway,
let's
leave that alone. What else do we have today? We have David Hobbins coming up later on.
Yep, we'll be visiting David Hobbins. Let's talk about the news this week. The Arena Commander rollout is going really great. Chris had said hundreds last week, thousands this week, and we're actually ahead of schedule. And with the new patch this week, it's just going to keep getting bigger.
Where have you been dogfighting? I haven't seen you in there in the multiplayer.
I have very little time to dogfight, unfortunately.
I went there twice and nobody was there. It's like, okay. Anyway.
The other big milestone is that we just hit $46 million in crowdfunding, which is incredible.
We did. That was probably a few people emailed me saying they picked up a miss. So.
Yep, the freelancer sale went really great for everybody. Hope you enjoyed the commercial and all the variants. And the miss is back in the CIG vault for now, so hope you pick one up in time.
But we have other cool stuff that we're going to take a sneak peek at. When's that happening? Not right now?
Not right now. At the end of the program, we have another ship to show you. Your first look at one of Star Citizen's previously unseen ships. We also have the Retaliator art came out on Friday. That's my ship. That's the one I pledged for personally with my own money. And I'm really looking forward to being a bomber pilot.
You may have read the big physics post, right?
Some of you may even have understood it. I did not. You may need to be a physicist to quite understand how Arena Commander works.
I actually understood some of it, however. Yeah.
You were ahead of me then.
Yes.
Chris and John Pritchard, our physics programmer, put that together, and it's an exhausting look at how Arena Commander works under the hood. Short story, it's a lot more than a simple arcade game.
Welcome, Tony Zurovec, new member of our team.
Tony is our Persistent Universe director in Austin. He's basically sharing a brain with Chris Roberts to build Star Citizen's Persistent Universe out. He's an old school developer. He did a game called Crusader for Origin, and then worked with Chris when he founded Digital Anvil in the late 90s. And he is coming back to gaming after many years, much like Chris did. It's really exciting to have him here. I got a chance to sit down with him on Friday for an interview. Here's a clip.
Hello everyone. We have a very special guest here and some pretty exciting news. We're growing the team at Cloud Imperium working on Star Citizen, and I'd like you to introduce you to Tony Zurovec.
I was always interested in computers and games. Probably started programming in 1979, 80. I would just beg, borrow, steal time from friends that had Apple IIs. I did a lot of financial analysis, trading software, etc. I also, happen to have a lot of interest in economic theory and business related stuff. I never thought that there would actually be a game that would allow me to put some of those principles to work. But again, it's just kind of fate, I guess, in regards to Chris coming and saying, hey, we've got this incredibly detailed economic system that we want to drive context for the entire Star Citizen universe, and that's going to be part of your purview. And it's just one of those things to where I see that and it's like, oh, that actually sounds really, really awesome. In 1996, it was already pretty much common knowledge that Chris was going to be leaving Origin, and that was creating all sorts of shockwaves because Chris had by far the most profitable group in the company. And so when he was going, I was definitely interested. At the time, they didn't have any kind of funding in place, and then he wound up striking a deal with Microsoft to provide the initial financing, wound up bringing AMD in as a partner later. We obtained the financing to start the whole thing up, and that started in 1997. First quarter 97. And loose cannon was basically, it kind of goes back to how I look at a lot of games, which is I played a game, Autoduel, and I loved the concept. It was, you could get into a car, you could outfit it with a variety of weapons, you could go through cities, enter shops, go out in the countryside, but the technology was so incredibly primitive that the game was largely overlooked. And it was another one to where, you know, I could look past all of that type of stuff and forgive it and actually have fun with the game because the concept was just so good. It was just a concept that was ahead of its time. On Star Citizen, I'm going to be directing the Persistent Universe group, which is headquartered in Austin. That's going to involve a number of responsibilities, including the economic system that's basically going to drive, you know, the context for the entire game, the mission creation system and content. It's going to involve all of the planet-side construction, a lot of the interface stuff that you're going to encounter, you know, down on the planet side.
Thank you all. Do you want to say thank you, Tony, today?
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was a pretty cool interview, and the full clip of the interview is on our site, right?
Yep, it's a long one, but it's worthwhile if you want to learn about the early days of game development and what Tony's going to bring to Star Citizen. It's pretty cool. So now let's go over to our best damn customer support team ever for their report. Allie and hopefully Chelsea, take it away.
Hello, welcome to the Customer Service Report. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Chelsea, and this is my new shirt. If you're still waiting for a citizen card, we figured out what the delay has been. They were sent back to our distributor to be relabeled and reshipped. We're working on getting them out as quickly as we can. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer.
And we've also gotten a lot of questions about freelancer upgrades this week. Please remember that once you apply an upgrade, it is permanent and we can't remove it for you.
And one more thing, if you're waiting for a response from customer support, please be patient. We've had a lot more tickets than usual because of the freelancer sale and the release of the dogfighting module. Well, just be patient, we'll get to you as quickly as we can.
We'd also like to say thank you for all of the awesome gifts that we get here at the studio. We've gotten some really cool ones lately, including tickets to Disneyland from Tacoma. We got some LTI beer from the Goonrathi, some Johnny Rockets gift cards from SpaceCon, and a big box of snacks from Pepper Spray. And we also got some cupcakes that were crowdfunded by our community.
Hey everybody, cupcakes! Yeah! Okay guys, well the cupcakes have arrived. Thank you very much for everyone buying these for us. So it's the UK office. Everyone's here lined up to get their cakes. So go for it guys, grab a cake.
Man, I wish I had some more of those cupcakes right now. Back to you, Ben and Sandy.
Thanks, ladies. And now I am here with David Hobbins.
Hey.
I have a few questions from our fans for you. So Blazney would like to know, what's your favorite design from popular science fiction movies and shows? Have you used anything in particular from other iconic science fiction universes in any of your concepts?
Wow, that's a good question. There's probably too many spaceships for me to just pick one, so maybe I'll mention a few of my top favorite ships. I think one of my all-time favorites is the Slave One, which we first saw in The Empire Strikes Back, designed by Nilo. And I just thought it was a very interesting, unique shape, but also how the cockpit reoriented for Boba Fett when it was in flight. So I thought that was a pretty neat ship. The other ship would be the Leonov from 2010, designed by Sid Mead. This ship was sort of interesting because at the time a lot of practical model makers were starting with one single form and then covering it with a series of greebly. And so with this ship, they started with a series of compartmental forms that you could kind of see through and light could pass through, and then covered it with greebly. Also, the Discovery from 2001 was a fantastic ship. All of Doug Chang's ships and designs, and the Tron replicator would be one of my favorite designs, just for the unique shape.
Second question, Lynn Saxtistel says, hello, Mr. Hobbins. First, I would like to say that I greatly admire your skill as a concept artist and people in your line of work in general. How are you able to think up the things you do and then put it down on a piece of paper, digital or otherwise, is beyond me, and I'm a little envious of all the talent. There you go, nice compliment.
Thank you.
Were you always good at drawing? Was it an innate talent, or was it something you had to work hard on to learn, or perhaps a bit of both? And does it also include landscapes or characters of some kind? If yes, can we see some pictures maybe?
Yeah, well, to go to the last
long question.
The latter question, yes, I did study other specialties within art, and I'd be happy to show those. So I think maybe some life drawing or gesture drawing would be kind of appropriate of nudes. As per drawing, yes, I've always been passionate about drawing. From an early age, drawing Mars bases and fighter planes and little Yodas or whatever. That said, it really is about mileage, in my opinion, and so having that passion will drive you through, to keep working with various drawing mediums. And I don't believe that talent is innate, or if it is, it's extremely rare.
Gradius147 wants to know, in the past we've seen videos that show your design process and interactions with Chris, but where and how do you get started on a ship's initial design? What initially inspires the shapes and colors of your design?
Okay, that's a good question. Usually I'm given a design brief, and so this was as sort of a list of all the key attributes of a ship, of how many passengers it's going to carry, its function, armaments, other things that are going to inform the layout and architecture of the ship. They were asking about something more, and really it comes down to learning about your world, going out, exploring, traveling, doing museums, looking at architecture. Nature is probably the best form language reference point, just that it's had billions of years to come up with so much variety. So being a good designer, it really comes down to, because we have to perform so quickly on the spot, you need in your downtime, spare time, to replenish the well and go out and gather this reference library of form languages and mechanical solutions, so that when you do have to come up with something, you have this Rolodex that you can quickly access. So.
Jack T. Colton Telenaz. You have great design taste. Talon's Shadow Mantis was the best design. You have said before during TNGS you like a design to be more daring, more cutting edge. The Mustang is a new design language compared to other ships from CIG to date. Do you think Star Citizen can be pushed into making even more cutting edge ships?
I do. I think that the Star Citizen universe is is vast, and you know, Chris Roberts wants it to be eclectic and have a whole range of technological levels and aesthetics. So yeah, the short answer is I totally think we can push it, and definitely when it comes to alien races.
Ardane Skullpunch says, Mr. Hobbins, any chance in the future that you will be doing some concept art for other ships based off of American muscle cars? I think it would be pretty cool to have Firebirds, GTOs, Hemicuda, Camaro, and don't forget the Cobras. You get the idea. I'm sure coming up with kick-ass designs doesn't happen overnight, so take your time. Star Citizen is going to be around for a while. Thanks for your time.
Okay, that's good to hear. Well,
you have a job for a while, yeah.
Exactly. I think that's an awesome idea. I you know, growing up as a kid, had you know, a passion for muscle cars and their form language. You know, maybe this is something that we can put out to the fans and ask them, have a poll or forum about what are their favorite muscle cars. I'm sure there's, you know, back to the last question, there's enough, you know, vehicles and ships coming up in this universe that somewhere that would work, or at least be inspired from it subtly. So maybe to add kindling to that, I'd say that some of my favorite Mustangs or muscle cars were sort of a Mustang Shelby GT500 or...
There's actually a cool place in Burbank that people
really?
park all their muscle cars. I think it's called Bob's Diner or something. There's a lot of cars from the 50s and they all just line up there. It's super cool. You get a milkshake, an old school milkshake. And
sweet. Well, I'll have to
see, inspiration. There
reference.
You go.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hobbins, David Hobbins. And over to you, William.
Hey everybody, I'm lead moderator Will, here to bring you this week's MVP. This week's MVP is Strudel Baron because he used the program Voice Attack and combined it with sounds from Star Wars. So that when you tell the program to lock on, you can hear R2-D2 beeping in the background. It's pretty cool. So be sure to check out his thread because he includes instructions on how to do it yourself. So thank you very much, Strudel Baron. You're this week's MVP. Back to you guys.
Thanks, William. And now let's check in with the fans.
Thank you, guys. I'm here with Steve Snyder. Steve, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
A fire captain in a large department in Southern California.
Oh, wow.
And I've did some time in the military and got really interested in this game when I saw what was involved in it.
So, you were in the military and now you're a fire captain?
Right. Yeah. I know it's a weird transition, maybe, but...
No, it just makes me feel bad about myself.
No. It's a fun job, but... really rewarding.
That's cool. What did you do in the military, if you don't mind me asking?
I was in reconnaissance, so I used to fly a fair amount. And when I got out of the Air Force, I started doing reconnaissance for road maps in Southern California, flying in a plane, doing the same thing.
Okay.
And then I started doing photography for arson, and that's how I got in the fire service. So
cool.
Everything fit and kind of fell into place. And
so
ultimately, I ended up in the fire department.
So you're in a flight, so is that what kind of piqued your interest in Star Citizen?
Well, a little bit. I used to fly a lot, and I used to get flight simulators early on. I've always had those, so ever since I came out with them. But then I got into FPSs, or first-person shooters, and I started to get into way back in Wolfenstein and Doom and Quake, and then I started getting to Battlefield. And that's what got me into this, believe it or not, because I was watching videos by Frankie on PC in 1080p. He's a British gentleman that does these things about Battlefield, and I was watching it one day, and he was showing off this really cool, what I thought was a jet. It turns out it was a spacecraft. It looked like, it was a Super Hornet, and he was telling about the game itself, and I got really interested, and I looked it up, and the next day I bought myself a Constellation.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about the game. It's because I love first-person shooters, especially something like Battlefield where you work as a team, and I see that more in this game than I've seen anything else. Where you have friends that help you out, and you have a common task, and the flight simulating part of it, first-person shooters, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting how many different types of genres like coalesce in this one game.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But I'm curious, did you ever play any of Chris's older games?
I did. I played Privateer and Freelancer originally. I didn't know they were all Chris Roberts games originally, and I kind of look back at them now and think, wish I'd gotten into Wing Commander and so forth. I also flew some of his flight simulators. I think it was a Falcon, I believe he had out for a while. Anyway, it was one of his flight simulators. Every time I found a flight simulator, I'd try it out and play with it. So I just liked that so much. And I never saw a space simulator that did anything like that, other than Freelancer or Privateer.
Do you play any other like space-related games, or just like the Chris
No,
ones?
not really. Just the FPSs and flight simulators. I didn't do Eve or any of the other big, online space games.
Yeah.
So because it didn't have the same feel to it. I mean, the idea that you're actually in your ship and you're communicating with your own crewmen, on a common goal, I think is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, that probably speaks to your experience in the military and.
Well, it's funny, military, but also the fire service. I mean, we work as a team, and you're the crew, and basically this is what you're doing. You've got a 4-man ship, and you've got exactly the same size as an engine company or truck company, and you're trying to do a common goal, and you're working together at it, and the camaraderie there is huge. Your lives are in each other's hands, like they are in the military or in the fire service. So it's similar to that. I mean, it's obviously a virtual life. It's not, not the real thing, but that's pretty exciting.
Wait, are you telling me Star Citizen's not real?
Oh, well, not yet. Anyway, it's getting there. It's going to be real pretty soon, I think.
Good point. So other people in your station, do they know how into Star Citizen
my
you are?
crew does, yeah.
They do?
I recruited my wingman from the fire service. He's a fire captain, too. I have to tell you about, my name in game is Track, T-R-A-K.
Okay.
So I'm calling this the Track method of getting a wingman. So what I did was I invited him to join me for beers, on an off shift at a bar. So I got to the bar early, and I found a dark corner of the bar, and I said, he joined me in the corner. I kind of looked around the room to make sure.
Usually that's not a good start to any story.
I know, I
think
know.
This is going to
be your friends. We're just having a beer,
okay.
But yeah, right. So we're having a beer. We're just, catching up.
Yeah.
And I said, I have a business proposition for you. And I looked around the room to make sure nobody, act like I'm really clandestine about it. And said, it's very risky. Your life is going to be in danger at times. It's very rewarding. You'll be traveling long distances, and you'll probably see things you've never seen before. But I bought us a couple of ships if you're interested in being in this business with me. And his eyes are lighting up.
Yeah.
Firemen, they love adventure and excited about it. And I said, it's probably going to be profitable too. We'll hope, that happens. So I look around the room and I pull out a manila envelope and I slide it across, and here's the ship I bought for you.
This is so
and
awesome.
I've got another ship that I'd like you to be my first mate on. But anyway, this is the ship I bought for you if you're interested in being a partner in this business. And his eyes are lighting up. He said, oh my God, I could sign him up right now to do who knows what. And he opens it up and he pulls out the Aurora brochure. And he's looking at it and he's going, what? And he's looking at me and I go, oh, I forgot to tell you, this is a space simulator game by Chris Roberts called Star Citizen. So he was hook, line, and sinker at that point. And I explained to him the game, and he was going, this is amazing. So, and the fire guys, I think they'd be perfect for somebody, or police officers, anybody that wants to get immersed in something and get away from reality, doctors, nurses, anybody that's in the military would, understand how this works. And I'm not sure how many people want to do the same thing they did in their real life. For instance, I don't know how many cops want to be in the advocacy or whatever, or be an advocate.
So you're telling me the cops will probably be pirates?
Yeah, probably. I mean, how many firemen are going to be wanting to be putting out fires? I don't know. So I mean, it looks like it's going to be, and he's into it too. So I don't know how many firemen are into it. As far as my people that I work with, they know I do it, but outside of that, I have no idea. They're going to find out now, I guess, if they're looking at this thing.
All right, well, I think that about does it. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being a hero twice over.
Well, you know what? After following Lando, I don't know, I was hoping it would be too hard, but it's like following a big band and going, oh gosh, I got to come out after him. I think you guys served him black ice last time I saw how you guys reacted. So.
You want a drink?
Sure. Thanks again. Oh, man.
I did it better that time. All right, back to you guys. Thanks.
See you later.
And guess what? You can win the plexiglass art that David Hobbins made. And how do you do that, Ben?
Well, head over to the forums. We want you to create your ideal Mustang variant. Basically, pitch it to us however you want, and the most creative entry will win Dave Hobbins art.
That's pretty cool.
It is. That would look pretty cool in my living room.
I can't draw, so I'm not part of that. What else have we got?
Well, we're announcing right now we have a surprise ship sale tomorrow. We are bringing out the Xi'an Scout, and here is your first look at it ever.
I actually got one of those. I did. Like you got the Retaliator, I got a John Scout, and I actually got a Banu Merchantman too.
It's pretty cool. It's looking really good. Nope, that's all for our show this week. Next week, we have writer Dave Haddock. He's going to talk to us about the lore behind Star Citizen and writing for Squadron 42.
We're encouraging them to do a little snippet every week, however. They don't like being on camera so much, so...
Yes, it turns out writers don't like to appear in the flesh.
No.
But we'll see if we can ferret them out for at least one interview.
Exactly.
So we will see you next week. Please post your feedback on the forums. We want to know how to do this better. It's your show. You're going to help us make it great.
See you next week, and thanks for joining us on Around the Verse.
See you around the verse.
See you around the verse.
Hey everyone, Gay Plane programmer Mark Abent here to show off some fun bugs. The first one we got here is dealing with the Gatling guns. Apparently if you keep shooting and shooting and shooting, your guns will explode up and then all of a sudden your guns make no more sound. That's kind of a big problem. So I'm here to show you what caused it and how we fixed it. Let me show you guys the implications of this fun little bug. So I'm going to hop into my Hornet, and I'm going to show you a little debug screen that shows a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes. Basically, we use this thing called Mannequin, and we were able to play animations on different layers, so we could have the gun playing a sound while playing an animation. And what happens with this bug is, let me shoot off my Gatlings, is after time when our guns get destroyed, our model will switch. And during this switching, it will actually, as you can see, it just stopped all the animations, it stopped all the sounds and everything, which is a huge problem for us because when our models get damaged, we want them to continue to make sounds, do the animations, and so forth. What I first did was look at the XML setups to see if they were linking to the right models, if the animations were looking at the right things. I looked into Mannequin to see if all the scopes were set up correctly, and from what I could tell, they were fine. Why no work? And apparently this bug only happens when you switch between damage states, so I had to look at the differences between the pristine Gatling gun and the damaged variant, and if there's any difference between those or if it's something funky transitioning to and from. Why don't you work? So I popped into the code and looked at where the transitioning stuff was happening, and I noticed the animation scopes for Mannequin were getting cleared anytime you change the geometry, which is a bad thing because that stops all the sound, the animation. What we did in the end was basically pause all the animations that were happening on the Mannequin scope, prevent them from getting flushed out, go through the scopes to make sure that we can play them on this new model, set up on the Mannequin backend so it could use the correct new model and any other shenanigans, and then we were able to resume what was happening on the animation scope. So now I'm back in game, hop into the Hornet, turn on my debug, and you can see all the animations and sounds playing once again. Then once my Hornet gets damaged, zoom out a little bit, we just switched to damage state and we're still playing our sounds and all that. This time I blew up my wing, so it won't actually show it, but it did continue playing the sounds and animations when it got damaged.